soft end like this, it just doesn't work. So just play like you normally play, it'll be fine. Here you go, concert F again. Breathe with me. Possible, make sure bell front brass are as visible as you are able to make them in the situation you're having to play in. And I know. Do your best. There you go. Let's do this F scale, please. And breathe when you need to. 1, 2, and 8 notes down. Start on that first note. I know we're shuffling people in and out, and that's all great. Let me get everybody that is able to play right now with me. And 1 and 2 and set. Double time going down. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and a 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and set, and. See if we can line that up even more. 2, again, and go. I like that one better. We might need a couple folks to give up a stand as close as you are. You probably have stands in back of each other like that. We got an extra stand back there. Okay. We got extra ones there. Okay. Well then maybe I don't know yet. But if you have need of one, let us know. Right now it looks like we're fairly well taken care of. Do that same pattern, please, on E flat, eggplant flat, please. And mouthful. 2 and 3 and go. Since you had a chance to do some warm up, let's do some light playing. I want to do this sooner rather than later, before more folks come in. We're going to start in order. Start Washington Post. We'll do the intro and no more. No tuning. Pardon? No tuning. Oh yeah, we'll tune in a minute. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, very definitely. Let's play a little first. Or in the words of one of my favorite third trumpet players ever. You all know the type of kid that loves band. He lives and dies for it. High school would have been a living HEW hockey stick for him. But bless his heart, he graduated from the third trumpet section. So that'll tell you something. When I said intonation one time, he said, intonation, I can play louder. Bless his heart. I love kids like that. And you don't want a whole band full of them, but you need a couple of them like that. Just keep things going. He certainly did. What a great young man. Here you go. Still talking about that 15 years later. Washington Pops. I need more middle and low from what I'm hearing here. And try that one more time, please. It could be my place to room. Let me try here from back here. Now. Huh? Can you hear us? We're going to be able to. Okay. At the top, please, just the intro. 1, 2, ready, and. That's the opener. The second thing is American Overture. And I need you to go to 133, please. And I want to make sure that we're solid on this accelerando at the end, at 139. And I want to remind anyone that has long notes at 147, remember about the forte piano there. Here is 133. 133 on American Oak. This will be the second tune in the show tonight. Good. And 1, 2, ready, and. I can't beat John Porter. No one is that good. But I got just a little bit. Here, let's go on, please, to Nicolai is next. To Nicolai. Oh, I would help if I told you what it was. Nicolai is third. Nicolai is third. Yeah. Oh, thank you. It was one of my days. I always worked at my school. It was more American flag tie and flag. The band knew it was American flag day, American flag tie flag. For probably 20 years. All right. 125 is the metronome. I'll either be on it or I won't. Here you go. And 1, 2, 3, and. Make sure that there aren't that many folks playing and you're really projecting up there. So just be a little careful with that. And we're at the beginning for Nicolai. And 1, 2, ready, and. Combo people, stand up. We can as challenging it is in this setup. Do that, please. If you can see, let's go on, please. Disney at the movies. Is there anything that we need to touch? We feel like you got to touch here. Yes.
Just standing up, just when you have the solo part.
Right. Yeah. Just when you have the combo parts on the movie. Yeah, not on Disney. Not on Disney. Well, on Louie. Okay. On Disney, just watch me and don't cover the melodies. Let the melodies come out. On John Williams. Okay. Now, just going to do this beginning. I don't know if you need to go over that. Okay. What I want to see us have is a little bit more tempo on this cut time measure 4, just to push it a little bit like it does in the Emmy credits. So we're going to start at measure 1. I don't want to use the B word to begin. Measure 1. When we get to 4, folks, my target tempo is cut time. Like it to have a little bit of motion. It's going to make the high notes not last as long. All right, here's the top. Star Wars, measure 1. Here you go. Anything we need to do in there, let's remind ourselves how we're going to do that. Remember where it begins. It begins at before 66 and goes straight down. I will say something to the audience before what we just played to give you time with the page. So you'll have plenty of time to get it flipped around. stripes, we don't need to touch that piccolos, let's make whatever we're doing there, you know, the usual staging. Yes, absolutely. Please, please, yeah, and audience can get. Sure, right out from the door. She's waiting for it, she wants it up close and personal. It'll be great, you know, just, yeah, it'll be, you guys have done it a million times. It'll be great. All right. Is there anything that we need to touch? Okay, after we're done, the folders go in the containers. They're going to go back to the Pops office for getting restuffed for the June 1 show. So if there's anything that you want to continue to work on, just take a picture of it or something and do that. For any folders that aren't here, I'll work on collecting them so that Brenda doesn't have to do extra stuff there. We'll have some work to do there. So that's that. Any questions on the board? All right. Show yes. For tonight? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just like we went through. The first thing is washing and post. Second thing is American Overture. The third is Finale. The fourth is Louis. The fifth is Disney. Then John Williams. And then Stars and Stripes. Okay? No problem. Thank you all. And I appreciate all of you being able to make this work. It's different. We had to make arrangements. A lot of you, we had traffic bottlenecks. I had one real good one getting here too, and all of that. And thank you all for doing just that. Your efforts are greatly appreciated. This will be a lot of fun. You'll get an FTP later tonight, probably, if not in the morning. We'll talk about when we resume, which is April 8th. We'll resume on Tuesday, April 8th. So we get a little vacation coming up. And then we'll go full steam ahead for our June 1 show at the Altry. And that'll be cool. Some more works coming out on that. Anyway, we'll take a pitch in about 5 minutes of 7. Restrooms are down the hall, down that way. There's some back that way too. All right, very good. Other than that, thank you for 4 weeks, for 4 rehearsals, especially. It's going to be really good. Thank you so much, everybody. Be ready to go at 7?
Was it the second signature of the instrument is an instrument. And we did a solo, and he sounded to me every bit beautiful. So I gotta get him to do
Nice to meet you, John.
tones of the B flat scale. So do that with me, please, on cue. Now.
Welcome, everyone. I thought the circus band was coming tonight, but it's the whole damn circus. Yeah. What is it? Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers. Yes. Disguised as the band. Right. These people are wonderful. I mean, I know already. I've heard them in concert. Let me tell you some facts. They are more than 45 years old. You and I know about that. Most of us are older than that, but we welcome them anyway. They are a community-based organization that is a play for their community, and they want to entertain their community, and they're largely made up of community members. These folks are all volunteers. They are not paid. They play for us. They put on 3 formal concerts at the Altria Theater during the year. I think it's Christmas and June and fall?
Yeah, it's Veterans Day in November.
Okay,
Christmas in December, and then Flag Day in June.
got you, right. So there are tones of a military band, but obviously they're a concert band. And one difference you can tell, I've got to ask for applause here because we have a string bass player back there. You don't, right. Right, yeah. He's the only brother I have up here being a violinist, so I'm glad to see him. And you listen for him because he's the bottom, and they all have to listen to him to know where they are when they're playing. This group exists only on donations, small and large. You can go to their website if you enjoy tonight and pick a way to contribute. Earl McClinney, the conductor, has just told me that they will make tons of tickets to their performances out at Altria available to us. So we'll talk with Hallie and the Activities Committee and see if we can't get buses running and tickets distributed for anyone who would want to go to one of these 3 concerts. Otherwise, the band plays out in the community at facilities like ours. And they even have smaller groups that play for smaller situations. That's about all I want to say, except everyone here is chosen by themselves or the director or audition committees. They were all excellent, and wait till you hear the sound. I wager that it's the biggest sound that we have heard here musically, I think. Yeah. So let's welcome them all. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go. And good evening. This is the Richmond Pops, and we are glad to be here for you tonight, whether you're watching here in other places or in your rooms. We are really glad that you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the music tonight. We opened with the Washington Post March by famous march composer John Philip Sousa. You'll hear a little bit more from him at the end of the show. If you've seen us before, you kind of know what's coming. But our second tune, though, is entitled American Overture for Band, and it's a staple in the military band repertoire and classic in the band world as well. It was written by Joseph Wilcox Jenkins in 1955 when he was stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland as a band music arranger. There's technical demands for every player here, and it really showcases our French horn sections. And so it's a tune that you're going to hear again at our Sunday, June 1 concert at the Altria, which we hope that all of you can come to. We'll have a great entertaining show that I think that you'll like. You're going to hear a couple snippets of this. Everything we do tonight is a work in progress. We're 4 rehearsals into the season right now, and that's it. So, but these guys can do anything. We hope that you will enjoy American Overture for Band by Joseph Wilcox Jenkins. Funiculi Funicola is an Italian tune by the composer Luigi Denza and is arranged for band by the noted band composer and arranger Dr. Alfred Reed. It'll kind of remind you of going to the Olive Garden. Every time I hear this, I think of those piles of endless breadsticks and bottomless salad bowl and maybe a glass of, well, never mind, that doesn't matter. But anyway, this is just a fun piece that I hope that you'll enjoy. Funiculi Funicola. A little bit about this group. We range in ages of our membership from into the 20s to into the 80s. And so we run a gamut. Most of us are maybe a little bit more seasoned, but we are glad to have our younger folks that keep us going as well. And we come from a variety of occupations, We have more than several music educators in here of elementary, middle, and high school range. We have retired personnel. We have just about any occupation you can think of. We've got at least one of them here. And that's what makes this group so special, is the fact that that once a week during our rehearsal season, we're out there at Tuckahoe Presbyterian Church, rehearsing into the evening. And you can't ask for much better than that. These are wonderful people, and they've come here to entertain you. And I hope you're enjoying the show so far. All right. Well, we got more. We're going to do a tribute to the jazz great Louis Armstrong. We've probably I think everyone has heard of him. And Satchmo, as he was known, one of the great names in all of American jazz. A vocalist, a trumpet player, a true entertainer, for sure. John Edmondson has cleverly taken some of Louis' best tunes, Basin Street Blues, High Society, Hello Dolly, Mame, and those two are weaved together very, very nicely. And then a big shouting out chorus when the Saints go marching in. You're going to hear from several of our members here as they stand during some Dixieland combo type of playing while the piece is ongoing as well. Well, we hope you enjoy a tribute to Louis Armstrong. noted band arranger, John Higgins, has taken some of the great movie themes through the Disney Company and covered a number of years, from ones that we all grew up with to the ones that your kids grew up with. And hopefully your grandkids, you that have them, will maybe get to know some of this as well. You'll hear, I'd say probably 8 or 9 of them, and I want to see how many of them you can recognize and see what you remember. Some of them I know that will ring a bell right off the bat. And music like this and what you just heard and other things, what you will hear from us on Sunday, June 1, if you're able to come out to the Altria. In addition to a patriotic ending, which is typical of all of our concerts, because that's what we do. And so we will make sure that everyone has the information needed for that, should you be able to attend, and we certainly hope that you do. We think you'll enjoy it. We have a couple of great guest soloists as well that appear with the band, and it's a fun evening. Anyway, we'll continue on with Disney at the Movies. Let me know how many tunes you recognize. Does anyone want to hazard a guess how many different tunes we played? I don't know myself, so I'm going to need you to tell me. What say you? 13? That sounds close. We'll call you the winner. There you go. Congratulations. As we continue into this movie theme, which is going to be something that will roll in, that's going to roll into our June 1 concert, we're going to take and do music from Star Wars Symphonic Suite, arranged by the late Robert W. Smith. Now, there's a couple of tunes in here that you may not be as familiar with, but I'll pretty much guarantee you'll know the last one that we play. I'm going to bet on that one. But anyway, this music is written by the wonderful and incomparable John Williams, and a true American treasure from a musical standpoint. He's in his 90s now, and still going at it strong. As you know, he's written so many great movies: E.T., the Star Wars stuff, and Harry Potter, and many more that he has provided the soundtrack for. And he's really like I said, an American treasure, and we're so glad that we have him. I was able to, with several of us, we were able to see him live conducting the Marine Band in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center. And it was a pretty spectacular thing to see him right there. And he conducted the entire second half. And he said afterwards, "I'm going to go take a nap." But I understand that feeling. But anyway, we hope that you enjoy that. You're going to hear Duel of the Fates from the Phantom Menace. You're going to hear Anakin's theme. And you're going to hear Augie's Great Municipal Band. And then, of course, the last one you'll know very, very well if you don't know the other three. We hope you enjoy the Symphonic Suite from Star Wars by John Williams, arranged by Robert W. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That wasn't easy by any stretch. And a chunk of that was done in 3 rehearsals. And again, bravo to these great musicians for putting stuff together so quickly. We want to thank you all for being here. We're here because you're here, and we appreciate you being here. And again, my appreciation to these great musicians behind me for their wonderful spirit and really super dedication to the craft. And a reminder again, we're starting to get prepped up now for our June 1 concert at the Altria, and all of our shows are free admission, and tickets will be available. Donations are accepted because our costs just keep rising. You would be surprised what it costs to put on these shows. It's worth every penny that goes into it, for sure. We'll feature outstanding tenor soloist Pablo Talamonte, and who's a regular with us. If you've been to some of our shows, you've seen him before, and he has the Ricky Ricardo thing going on great, and it's always so much fun to have him around. And we'll also have trumpet soloist Dr. David Moore, and we will have other surprises and treats and things in store for you as well. Anyway, we thank you for coming out. Hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. We have one more for you. Thank you. We do have one more for you, and if you're familiar with the Pops, this one will be no surprise to you at all. It's one of the great, my favorite march of all times, and as our announcement goes, as proclaimed by Congress and signed into law by President Ronald Reagan in 1984, the official march of the United States, John Philip Sousa's "The Stars and Stripes Forever."
coming up. Okay, your folders need to go in the containers out there. Please don't forget. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You did a great job tonight.
I'll be damned.
We will be in touch. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thank you.